I came back from Palestine a few days ago and I'm making 15 videos in hopes that it would reach 1 million people so that we could tell the stories of what we saw on the ground in the West Bank and in Jerusalem. Today is day 3 and it's a story of somebody you might know, Auda Hatlin. You may know him as somebody who helped make the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land. You may know him as a journalist and activist who was killed in this village of al-Khair by the settler Inon Levi. You may know him from his mother and 60 other women who went on a hunger strike when Israeli authorities wouldn't release his body to his village 11 days after he was murdered. Or you might not know him at all. Let me tell you the story. Khair is a Bedouin community, which is a desert-dwelling community of people who are deeply traditional and who have their roots in the land. Khair has been subject to settler encroachment since 1980s. And surrounding it is the settler community called Carmel, armed settler community that's violent. A new settlement was popping up in the village of Khair. Bulldozer drove through the community to get to this place to level the land. And once it leveled the land, it tried to encroach on the Bedouin community and destroyed trees and infrastructure. And so the community came out and said, why are you doing that? Why don't you just take the same road you took to come into the village? Why are you now driving through the land that feeds us? That's when the confrontation happens. And Inon Levi comes out, gun in hand, and he's threatening to shoot people. And he shoots Auda Hatlin. What the article doesn't say is that when Auda was shot, he was also holding his child in his arms. And his child witnessed his death. When we went to Auda's home and met with his wife, she wailed. She just sat there crying. And we didn't have anything to say. What do you say to someone whose husband has been murdered and there are no consequences? Inon Levi was sanctioned and is sanctioned by the EU and the UK, but the very first day that Donald Trump took office, he removed the sanctions from Levi. Khair is a tiny village that has gotten a lot of attention, and yet they still continue to face the same settler violence day after day. The goats of the village aren't allowed to graze because settlers shoot them or they take them. And now the Bedouin community has to buy feed. Why are they doing this, right? You may ask. Because they want the land. Because Israel wants the Bedouin community to leave. What did the community ask? They want international presence. If you have the courage and the will and the time to go with your body and stay there, it reduces settler violence. If you have money and you're willing to support this community to stay where they are, to continue to feed their families, continue to feed their livestock, then Center for Jewish Nonviolence has a fundraiser that the brother shared with us. I invite you to support. Talk about settler violence. Talk about settlers encroaching on Palestinians' lands and taking it. Call your government, call your legislators, call Donald Trump and say that you don't support this. Day 3. Remember the name, Khair, Auda Hatlin.